It's Sunday, October 2nd, 2022. It's the Washington Commanders against the Dallas Cowboys. Is this a trap game? Should we eat the cheese? I don't know. Well, hello and thank you, fellow compadres and Dallas Cowboy haters. Thank you for coming to the channel once again. If this is your first time coming to JMacSports247, I am JMax. And I really appreciate if you give me a like, subscribe, and share if this is your first time coming to the channel. And by all means, do please leave a comment, because I do enjoy reading the comments and conversing with those who feel about the Cowboys as I do, and those who despise my Dallas Cowboys and are the Dallas Cowboy fans. Before I get into the game we have today with the Washington Commanders, I'd like to talk about something in my last video, which was I see and I've found some of the Cowboy fans to be somewhat fickle. They kind of rub at least one of my really good friends who I grew up with the wrong way. I guess he took it the wrong way, and I didn't mean to offend him. I really didn't mean to offend anyone. It's just how I feel, especially when I read some comments on Twitter regarding the last game we played against New York Giants, how we had so many of our fans want to throw Dak Prescott under the bus because of Cooper Rush's play in 3 games. You know, I'm for one to celebrate and commend Cooper Rush on his performance of these 2 games, and really his full 3 games as a starter. But he's not Dak Prescott. But what rubbed me the wrong way was, it's okay to praise Cooper Rush. He deserves it. He should get the praise. But I was reading some other comments regarding, which makes sense to me. And if you're listening, and if you're a Cooper Rush fan right now, and you want to throw Dak Prescott under the bus, think about this for a second. He's a backup quarterback for a reason. And part of that reason is he does not have the overall skill sets as a starting quarterback. And I do believe if you pay attention, and I'm not going to say you're smart enough, but if you paid attention and understand football in its layers, that an offensive coordinator would try his best to not let this backup quarterback lose the game for the team. So therefore, there are going to be certain plays that was, designed for that backup quarterback. Now, there may be some chances some backup quarterbacks will try to, take some risk. And Cooper Rush appears to be one of those type of backup quarterbacks. But for the most part, the game plan was designed for him to not to lose the game, to manage the game, for him to succeed, and not to try to win the game, as you would expect your starting quarterback to do. But again, as I said, it's okay to praise Cooper Rush, but to throw Dak Prescott under the bus under the same breath is ludicrous to me. It doesn't make sense. So, but I didn't mean to offend some fans and friends, because I definitely don't want to lose any people from a channel. I'm trying to gain people on the channel, subscribers, and so I'm not trying to lose anyone. But I'm not going to bow down either. But again, that's not who I am to try to offend someone. I'm just speaking my mind when I just didn't feel that those individuals who made those comments wasn't applying any critical thinking to the process. Because I really had not read anywhere in any clippings I heard on any talking shows that, Dak is done over the hill, or he doesn't have it. He's injury prone. I wasn't hearing those negativities about Dak Prescott until after the second game of Cooper Rush. And if it's warranted, and I'm going to tell you that, But and I was also reminded that, I was not a Dak Prescott fan when he took over for Tony Romo. And it wasn't that I wasn't a fan of Dak Prescott. I didn't like how it happened. because again, I believe I'm a student of the game and how I pay attention to the game, watch the game within the game. You know, I've realized I had known that Tony Romo never had all the weapons, especially the offensive line and a running back to Zeke's level when Zeke came in his first year in 2016. So we didn't have that. He didn't get to apply his skill set with the offensive line, that 2016 O-line. So I wasn't a big fan of that. But in the same breath, I had to let my friend know I couldn't bring Romo back. So I had to jump on the bandwagon of Dak Prescott. I couldn't bring him back. I mean, he wasn't coming back. The powers that be had made their decision already. So me being a loyal Dallas Cowboy fan, I mean, I couldn't bring Tom Landry back when he was let go in '89. You know, and like so many friends and fans of the Dallas Cowboys back in '89 who just left the Dallas Cowboys because they unceremoniously let Tom Landry go. I mean, it did cross my mind, but I'm a Cowboy fan. I'm a die Cowboy fan, and most of you gonna die Cowboy fans, and a lot of you gonna die, you know, Cowboy haters. You know, we understand that. We appreciate that because you keep us relevant. You keep us in your mouths. You keep us in the newspapers. You keep us on TV. That's the way it is. When you talk about the Cowboys, you keep us on TV. You keep us relevant. You keep us America's team. By hating on the Cowboy fans, you make the Dallas Cowboys America's team. Whether you want to accept that or not, but you do know that. You just don't want to verbally say that, but you do know that. So I just jumped on Dak's bandwagon because he was our starting quarterback, and he's proved to be an adequate starting quarterback and one of the best in the league, and is the best in our division. So again, if I did offend anyone with my fickle video, I didn't intend to. Basically, I had the individuals who wrote those comments, who submitted those comments to Twitter. Basically, it was, you know, my thought process was on those individuals, not realizing that some of my good friends who are Dallas Cowboy fans and people who I don't know are Cowboy fans took offense to what I said, who, you know, thought I was like targeting them, which I really wasn't per se, because, you know, I'm only just the individuals that I actually read about. So if I don't know if you feel the same way, Dak should be thrown under the bus, or he, you know, after 3 games, which blows me away that you want to be a Cooper Rush #1 quarterback fan. That just blows me away after 3 games of analysis. That's what you see. That's what you feel. After 3 games, that blows me away. I just don't understand that. 3 games. How do you... I mean, to me, if you use 3 games to analyze an individual, and we're talking about football, and there's 16 games, 17 games in the season, and you use 3 games to analyze a body of work, knowing there's like all those games remaining, it makes me throw judgment of other things you may consider analyzing, and you put analysis on. It makes me wonder if, you know, like, wow, you know, it's just natural for me to want to like step back and like, you know, should I be listening to this person when they just, I mean, should I give this person time of day to conversate with me when you just use 3 games and there's so many more games to play? I mean, I can see if Dak Prescott was a backcourt quarterback and his body work showed that he need to be go ahead, I mean, you know, go to the bench. But his body work have not shown that. I mean, to the point that he was awarded this incredible contract. All right, I had to get that out. We're playing the Washington Commanders today. It is a trap game. But if you're old school like I am, this was the game that we should get up for. I can remember riding the school bus, and I had a couple friends who was huge Redskins fans, and we used to go back at it on our way to school, at school, and on our way home on the school bus. And the whole week we talked crap to each other. I mean, all in fun. And then the game came, and that was a true rival. It was the Cowboys and the Indians and the Indians and the Cowboys. There was no other rival. The only other rival that supersedes the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins football team / Commanders is the Dookie game planned against the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, those Tar Heels. There's no rivalry better than that one. I supersede that rival. But then number two is, it has always, well, over many years, it was the Cowboys and Indians. I mean, how ironic was that? I mean, that's how, the Old West became the Old West when, settlers went out. Settlers from the East Coast went out west, and they had to clear the West out by killing Indians. And so now this league called the National Football League have two teams, and their names are the Cowboys and the Redskins. So I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. As a kid, I thought that was pretty cool. But it has lost a lot of what it used to have. They don't have the same coaches as they did back in the 70s and 80s. And the Philadelphia Eagles have really made it their business to be a rival of the Dallas Cowboys. And to this day, I don't understand. Well, they say it's the fans. Our fans. That's why they hate the Cowboys. They say it's our fans. But anyhow, I digress. Let's talk about the Commanders. It is a trap game. And I say it's a trap game because we are supposed to win this game. Vegas have us, I think, 3.5 favorites. And I think it's because we're at home. But even if we weren't home, we was playing in D.C. or wherever they play, we should still be favored. This is a second division game, 2 weeks in a row. And we definitely should win this game. And I based that on, our skill players and the Washington Commanders skill players. That's what I based that on. I based it on the last game performances. I based it on that how the Washington Commanders played against the Philadelphia Eagles, because I really thought Wentz was. I took the Commanders to win that game based on Wentz playing at home, and he had something to he wanted to stick it to his former team, and he been their number one pick in the draft. So I'm thinking, he was that good to be a first pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. That being said, the Washington Commanders lead the league in sacks with 15. 15 sacks. And from what I understand, Michael Parson was not at his best last week. I understand he had the flu, some remnants of the flu. And from all accounts, he's 100% healthy. And I think I heard him say he feels as better than he did when he was in college. That's scary. That's a scary thought. Michael Parson, the best defensive player in the National Football League this year so far. Michael Parson. You saw what LT did. When I say LT, Tank Lawrence. You saw what Tank Lawrence did. 3 sacks. That was his coming out party for this year. Dorance Armstrong. We got a 3-headed monster on defense. And I'm not talking about Diggs. I'm talking about Armstrong, Tank Lawrence, and Michael Parson. The Lion. This is going to be a game for us Cowboy fans. Now I can't say the same for you Commanders. Now what I'd like to do once we win this game, I'd like to get on YouTube and try to find my, Washington Commanders YouTubers just to see you have a fit, because I plan on doing that. I really don't see the Washington Commanders putting up. I mean, you have all these number one draft picks on your defensive line, but they look like a shell of themselves. They don't put any fear in anyone's hearts. They really don't. So I read an article which there are 4 key victories to the Cowboy game, and I'd like to know if you agree with these. So if you agree with these 4 key victories, and this was written by John Herndon, he said there's 4 keys to winning this game for the Dallas Cowboys against the Washington Commanders. 1, lean on the power of the running game. Yes, I like our running game. The injury to Dak Prescott has made the Cowboys discover that less is more. Kellen Moore doesn't need to be a Dennis the Menace as an offensive coordinator. Football is a game of attitude. A power running game sets a physical tone of attitude unlike anything else. This is what Dallas talked about fixing offseason and getting bullied by the 49ers defensive front last season. Monday night, the Cowboys ran for 30 times right at the Giants, 5.9 yards per carry. 3 rookies who have shown that the pro game is not too big for them. OT, Tyler Smith, TE, Jake Ferguson, and TE Peyton Hendershot. Oh, that goes to say, I think the Dallas Cowboys, I read somewhere the Dallas Cowboys have more of their draft picks on their starting roster than any other football team in the last, I'm going to say 8-10 years. Most teams, like the Philadelphia Eagles, they get a few draft picks and they get some that don't pan out, and a good portion of their team is made up of what they say in the Old West. They're looking for a killer for hire or something like that. I forget. But most of their players, their skill positions are from other teams that they picked up in over the summer. Key 2, the pass rush. So this writers pretty much is no different than the average fan. See this as we got to have a running game rolling, and we got to have a pass rush, and we also have Cooper Rush. Don't make any mistakes. I do see Cooper Rush will become Cooper Rush this game. I do see that happening because he's a backup quarterback. I just don't want him to lose the game for us. Dan Quinn has to be feeling like Maximus. What is this? Meritus in the coach's booth with his defensive line rotation. That defensive line rotation that we have is something that I always want to have, and this is why I say we need to come up with a new name for our defense. It's just the second calling of Doomsday 2. And a lot of young guys don't remember the Doomsday defense back in the 70s. But this is the first time since I've been watching the Cowboys in many, many years that we have the likings of Doomsday 2. So that defensive rush will likely wreak havoc against Wentz and the offensive line of the Washington Football Commanders. So I see that happening, and I would like to know. Put in the comments if you think if you have a name for the Dallas Cowboys defense. Do you think we should be called Doomsday 2 again? Just let me know. I love to hear that. Bill Parcells said, once said, don't eat the cheese. When things are going well and he didn't want to play his players to take their success for granted, I read about the success in the papers and get overconfident. Don't eat the cheese. The NFL season is a marathon, not a sprint. And I said that before. Stay aggressive. Key four, stay aggressive. From day one, McCarthy and his staff have been the opposite of the ultra-conservative Jason Garrett. I think Jason Garrett's a commentator now in the booth. I think he lost his job with the Giants. Yes, we've been missing Michael Gallup and his ability to eat up space against the safety help in the last 2 weeks. But what I heard and what I've read, all signs points to Michael Gallup playing today. And not just playing, I think he's going to start. So I see us winning this game because of Michael Parson, Michael Gallup, Dorrance Armstrong, Cooper Rush not losing the game for us. I know we have a lot of Tony Pollard fans, and so therefore, in the same breath, you want to throw Zeke himself under the bus. I think Zeke's going to have an outstanding game as well. I do see Michael Parson getting at least 5 quarterback pressures. Michael Gallup would come, we return, and get 1 touchdown. Our offensive line and the Cowboys running attack will run the ball 40 times. The Cowboys defense will pick off Wentz 3 times. That said, I'm hyped about the game. I'd like to know what you think. Please leave your comments. Please subscribe if you haven't. And please share if you have not done that before. Thank you. Peace, 2 fingers.